to Let's Talk Money with Wendy Silevi. I'm excited today to introduce our guest, Dr. Mavis Mazhura, a human dynamic specialist, leadership coach, OD consultant, adult development and leadership psychologist, international behavioral science and performance specialist, an author, a mom, a wife, a friend. Welcome, Mavis. And how are you?
I'm well, thank you, and I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'd like us just to start a little bit. I mean, the intro was hectic. So I'd like you just to paint a picture of who Mavis is, where you grew up, and you'll share as much as you are comfortable to share.
Okay, so who is Mavis? So Mavis grew up in a rural village somewhere in Zimbabwe, and I think the first formative years of my primary schooling, I walked 10 kilometers to school. My father and my mother were peasant farmers, so they were not working. And from there, I think I had this intellectual ability from an early age. So when I went to school, I had so many teachers that always used to say, "You're going to be a doctor," and I didn't know what that meant at the time, because I'm thinking, what is a doctor? The only doctor you think of maybe is the medical practitioner. But they said these things that have almost guided me in some form or fashion. But I think one of the things that has also been interesting in my early ages, I've always been a dreamer. That Joseph that dreams those dreams when it doesn't make sense. I remember one of my dreams sitting on a mango tree, sitting under a mango tree on one afternoon, and I was reading a book. One of my brothers had become a student teacher. He brought a book, and I was reading about this book about Tokyo being the largest city in the world. And I'm thinking, I want to go to Tokyo. Wow. Like, I was just a child, 9-year-old, no shoes on, probably wearing a dress with a patch at the back. So I always look back and I say, if I had shared this dream with anyone, they would have said, "You're losing it. How on earth are you going to go to Tokyo? Because look at where you are." It just doesn't make sense. But here I am years later, and I've been to 33 countries.
Wow.
And I'm still going. My dream is to do 100 countries of the world. So through that, from the childhood, what happened to me, I went to varsity, started my HRA degree, honors degree, went overseas, did my master's in the Netherlands, and then also now did my doctorate in the US. So I've studied in 3 continents. I'm a mom of 2 boys, and I have 2 adopted daughters. One just finished university. The other one is completing her honors now. So people often talk about black tax. For me, it's not. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
So my 2 adopted daughters are daughters from my late sister that I took in when my sister passed, and I've been looking after them, and it's been a joy and a challenge at the same time, because you're looking after kids who are probably like 10 years younger. So there's no way you would have made kids at 10 years. So it has its challenges, but it's also its exciting moments. So that is professional, personal. I don't know what else I could share. I'm a wife, right? And so I'm a wife and a mother of 2 boys. I think I mentioned that. I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend. I also am, I value my faith. Right, I really, really value my faith. But for me, it's not stuck in a building or in a person. It has evolved over the years.
Okay.
Right, it has evolved over the years. Yeah, so that's me.
2 things that I picked up from your intro that I believe are powerful. Dream, your vision. When we talk about vision, it's a picture of a preferred future.
Yeah.
You're not yet there, but you are thinking about it. You are dreaming about it. You visualize it. It's not yet happening. And it's those dreams that carry you to becoming who you become, and I want to believe that your vision then, helps you then to set goals that get you to where you want to get to. You pace yourself, but you know exactly what the end goal is.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that I picked up that I believe is powerful for those that are watching is the power of words. that the words that we speak, they become. So we need to be careful that when we speak, we must speak positive words. We must speak words that are building.
Yeah.
Everybody was telling you, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor. And those words really stuck. And then as you're living out your life, you were literally following through on those words. And I think the power of words are so important.
True.
Thank you for that intro. I know you to be the guru that talks about emotions. I mean, when I got to know you, you had been invited where I used to work at Nedbank, and you were coming to speak to us about emotions. And when you were speaking, oh my goodness, I was captured because I had never really heard someone speak about emotions like that. So maybe just tell us, what are emotions?
Yeah, so emotions, I'll give you the biochemical definition. I'll also give you just a simple definition. So emotions are basically electrochemical signals that are released from the brain to affect every living cell in our body. And that process of releasing that chemical takes about 6 seconds.
Okay.
Right, so if I say something annoying to you now, Wendy, literally it takes you 6 seconds for the chemical to be released throughout your body, and we'll see a physiological shift. You will start frowning. Right, so every emotion affects your physiology.
Okay.
Right, so there's a shift with it. There's a motion. There's a movement that happens as a result of emotion. Right. So my second definition basically is that emotion is a message that is delivered from the mind as a sensation to your body. Right. So it's a message to take action. Right. Each time you experience an emotion, there's motion. So the word itself, emotion. Right. In movement. Okay. So each time you experience an emotion, it sets you into action or inaction. For that matter, it's still action. Inaction or action is still action, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that is an emotion. Yeah. And emotions drive behavior.
Okay.
Right? Because they change your physiology, so they drive your behavior. So emotions drive behavior, whether it is financial behaviors, whether it is parenting behaviors, whether it is, job performance behaviors, whether it is educational behaviors. People learn or don't learn because of emotions, because of what they're feeling. So emotions basically drive our actions and inactions on a daily basis. Yeah.
And then I heard you say something, like you've just said now that when I do something and then there's chemicals that are released, and then it takes 6 minutes for me to respond. Now, I heard you say something to say you are supposed, please you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but you're supposed to feel that emotion then, and it must go away. Yeah. So why do we get angry and then we are angry for 3 weeks? We're not talking to our family, to our friends, to our partner. The emotion is dragged on for 3 months.
Yeah. So each emotion has got a minimum lifespan of 2 minutes, which means you can feel angry and get over yourself in 2 minutes, provided you know how.
Okay.
Remember, we're not educated and schooled around emotions. So for most of us, it's the social conditioning we received, that when you got angry, you got punished, you got beaten. There was no proper formula on this is how you manage an emotion. This is you're now feeling angry. In fact, to just even name the emotion, most of us don't have that vocabulary, right? We've got very few emotions we can name, yet there are over 400 emotions that we could experience, right? So 2 minutes is the maximum lifespan of an emotion. But why does it drag for days and months?
And years.
And years even. Yeah. And here's what happens. Our brain, our thinking brain, does not know the difference between reality, imagination, and remembrance.
Okay.
Right. So whatever you feed your brain, that's what it produces. It's like a machine. It's like a computer, a programming machine. Right. Whatever you put in the computer is what you get out. Okay. Right. So because your brain doesn't know the difference between remembrance, reality, and imagination, most of us drag our emotions longer because of imagination and remembrance. So you say to yourself, who does he think he is? Why did he say that? You keep on feeding. You start. So from the event to self-talk, you're talking to yourself and your brain doesn't know that you're talking to yourself. Right? We even can generate emotion by imagination. You're thinking, if I don't have enough money for school fees next year, Your brain doesn't know you're thinking about 9 months from now. You start to feel the anxiety and the fear now. Yet you've got 8 months to even plan and take action and make sure that that thing you fear doesn't actually happen.
Yeah.
But the moment you're in anxiety and fear, your ability to take action is eroded. So you won't actually be able to take the action that you need. Yeah. So we sustain emotions through thought, imagination, remembrance, right? So the importance of processing emotions becomes very important, but also the importance of being able to manage your thinking,
Okay.
because you can cause yourself suffering from the way you think.
Yeah.
I've often said to people, someone hurt you once and they left, but you three replay when you've been remembering, you've hurt yourself 7 times. Each time you said, why did he do that? Who does he think he is? In the meantime, this person has forgotten.
Yay.
They've even moved on with life. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Actually, I want to agree with you when you're talking about the imagination, because you can be angry with someone and you're sitting there, they're not there. And then you're thinking when they walk in, this is what I'm going to say. If they do this, this is what. So you're already playing it out and stressing yourself unnecessarily. And when the person walks in, they're happy. They're not even there. You've wasted time. Okay, that's great. Now, what do emotions have to do with money? Because our topic for today is money and emotions.
Right. Okay. So, as I said earlier on, our performance on anything depends on how we feel about it.
Okay.
So emotions drive behavior. So when you're going to be generating money, whether you're getting yourself in debt, that's behavior, right? Whether you're increasing your earning ability, whether you're making choices for what you're going to invest or how you're going to protect your money, it involves behavior.
Okay.
It involves actions. Okay, what are you doing that is creating the results that you want? But the reason you're doing it is because of how you feel. So 80% of money management is psychology. It's emotion, right? If you don't know how to manage your emotions, how many people say, oh, I'm saving, and the next minute you take that saving and you squander it again, right? Or I'm budgeting. The next minute, if we look at your bank statement, it doesn't align with your budget, right? Which means you're doing something else, but you say this is what you're going to do. So emotions drive behavior. Emotions drive our money choices and decisions. But I think it's also important to note that emotions around money are evoked for most of us early on in our lives, right? So the first experience, the first impact money has impact on you as a person is very vital.
Okay.
Because we make memories based on how we feel. If there's no emotion, there's no memory.
Okay.
So by the time I'm able to make conscious decisions around money, I already have stored memory around money, which means a stored emotional impact that was caused by my interaction with money.
Okay.
So I often ask people, when was the first time you had a relationship with money? So you knew. So you can give a 2-year-old $1 and it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
They can even throw it and walk away.
Yeah.
Give them $50 or 50 rand. They can even, it's nothing. Give them to a year-old. There's no relationship there.
Yeah.
There's no impact. They don't know anything what it means. It means nothing to them. Until a particular age. When did money start meaning something to you? And what was happening?
Okay. And is there a correlation to the way then going forward you handle money? So, for example, you said that, you grew up, in a poor community. You didn't have shoes. You didn't have that. And probably, I'm just using it as an example, as you were sitting under that tree, maybe you were thinking that, hey, the day I get money,
Exactly.
I'm going to show money who I am. So I am never, ever going to find myself in this situation. Yeah. How do those kind of thoughts about money, the emotions that are evoked by our poverty or our lack, have an impact on us later on in life, on how we deal with
So
money?
our personal experiences, especially in our formative years, right, shape our conditioning around money.
Right.
I will tell you, as I said, memory around money. Because my father didn't work and my mother didn't work.
Okay.
We relied on hand-me-downs from our cousins who worked. And I remember a particular time, and that stuck with me. Among all other things that happened, this is not the only one, but this, I have a memory, a sharp memory for that because of what I experienced. One of my cousins says, "Oh, you guys never have anything. If we don't give you anything, you never have anything." Wow. I just wanted the ground to open and swallow me alive. Like the shame that came with that.
Yeah.
You know, you felt like you're not worthy. You don't deserve anything. You're not good as a person. There's something wrong with you, because your parents didn't work. Now you're owning a behavior. You're internalizing. So I internalized what she said. And this is obviously, you know, kids are honest. That's what she thought. It was her opinion.
Yeah.
But I was also a kid, so I didn't know the difference between how to not internalize that or reject that and say, you know, I'm not my parents, right? I cannot own my parents' behavior here. It's their choice or their decisions or their circumstances even, right? So that shame it's a continuous lingering thing, right? When you try to make money, now that you're older, you think, who do you think you are? Are you worthy of money?
Sure.
Don't you recall?
Where you come
So it's
from.
where you come from, you know? So it's a stored memory that then you start even to self-sabotage, right? Even when you're negotiating prices for your work, hey, who are you? You're going to charge 2 rand where you should be charging 2,000 rand because of your worthiness, your feeling of deservability, your feeling of worthiness.
Sure.
So it has to be, you have to go back and really work on it. And it's a continuous thing. You really have to work on it. Some people get themselves into debt because of that.
Okay.
So it's a self-sabotage around money, right? Who am I to be financially free? Who am I to be financially free? Right? You grew up with such struggle and suffering around money. So you create it by making sure that you're in debt, by making sure that you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're suffering. You're not free from money because you have been socialized around, you know, money is suffering.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know money and freedom. It's foreign to you.
Yeah.
I remember one particular lady I was coaching, and she said, you know, she remembers one particular day she went into a spa with her mother and they swiped the card. The card said it declined. The level of anxiety she experienced just from that moment, she was a child, imagine, right? And now what she does is she makes, each time she gets money, she gets so anxious that she blows it. It doesn't make any rational sense, but it's emotion, right? Emotions are irrational, right? Emotions drive actions. So for her, money represents anxiety. The anxiety she faced when they had to swipe. For me, for many years, money represented shame, right?
Wow.
So you cannot generate financial freedom from a place of shame. There's no way.
From a place of anxiety.
From a place of anxiety. Whatever it is you have. From a place of embarrassment. So for some, it's embarrassment.
Yeah.
For some, it's apathy. You get to a place where you're like, to hell with this thing, right? Okay? So it's different. What were the first emotions you experienced when you dealt with money?
Okay. We're going to talk around how do you overcome that. Ne? But I'm just reminded, you know, that sometimes the way, the emotions that we have towards money are from the wrong information. For example, there's a scripture that says, the love of money is the root of all evil. And actually, there's another translation that says, the excessive love of money is the root of evil. And you know, I read that scripture.
And you started hating money.
Hey! And I thought, you know what? If I have too much money, it's going to corrupt me. I'm not going to see heaven. And I'm being honest, you know, the first few years when I started working, I really didn't want to have too much money. If I had money, I just wanted enough. Even my prayers, they were so
away like it's nothing.
They were so misguided. You know, just pray, Lord, please just give me enough. And you know, your prayers, God answers those prayers. So for a while, I just had enough until I realized it's not money that is the root of evil. And so I had also attached emotions to the misinformation that I had.
Misinterpretation.
Exactly. And now I'm awake. I know that, yay, money is not evil. It doesn't matter how anointed you
Yeah,
are. If you don't have money, you can go to the ATM and pray in tongues and do whatever. There's no money that's coming out if you don't have, money.
yeah.
So maybe let's just go to how you then overcome if you've been dealing with money from negative emotions, because I want to believe that you need to have positive emotions for you to be able to then attain the financial freedom that you require.
Yeah. So I think it depends on where you start, right? When do you realize that actually there's a money issue here? There's a money problem, right? What are the symptoms? Are you constantly in debt? Are you not earning enough, right? Are you not investing, or sometimes you invest out of desperation and you lose all the money? We've seen people do that. Are you afraid of even protecting what you've earned, right? People will not have wills or legacy, insurance to make sure that those things are covered, or so this, where are you? What are your symptoms? What are the issues, right? And depending on the depth of the issue, right? Sometimes you find that people are in constant debt, or they can't even earn. They continuously sabotage themselves to earn enough money to live a worthwhile life, right? So there is something that is similar to the Alcoholic Anonymous. So depending on the depth of the issue, right, you would need to follow either therapy or just something like the Alcoholic Anonymous around money to help you, because you get to a level where you are so addicted. It becomes an addiction, right, of being in debt. Right. You can be an addiction of being in debt. Each time you are in debt, each time you're not getting out. It can be an addiction. So which means the level of intervention that is required is that of getting you out of addiction from earning less. You can be addicted to not earning enough. Each time you get a job, you get fired. Have you seen people like that?
Yes.
Each time you get a job, there's not sufficient money around you. You make sure that you don't have. It's become a debt-seated, addiction on not having enough money.
Sure.
So it depends on where are you, and then coaching sometimes can help you shift that.
Okay.
So coaching, depending again on how deep is this issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How deep is this issue? So therapy can be useful, talking about your money story, having someone replay back to you to realize, okay, yes, someone said you didn't have much, and that was true. Your parents didn't have much, but that doesn't have to be your story.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be your story. You can create a different story altogether.
Yeah.
You can decide. In fact, you don't have to base your emotions on what they said. What do you want? You can generate your own emotions. So they evoked emotions by what they said, but you can generate your own emotions. You're talking about dreams, right? So when I start dreaming, I'm generating my own emotions.
Right.
I'm deciding, this is what I desire. This is where I want to go. And because I want to go here, I'm going to generate resourcefulness that is going to help me to create the resources to get to where I want to go.
And those are positive thoughts,
Those
right?
are
Positive emotions.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm
even
generating. Yeah.
So even when you're generating the money, you're enthusiastic,
Yes.
you're excited,
You're passionate.
you're
Happy and content.
Yeah. But if you're working from a wound, point of view, everything is negative.
Yes.
And even the way that you handle money. Yeah. Okay. So, that wound thing, how do we overcome that as well? Where I'm saying, I grew up in poverty. I don't want my children to grow up the way that I grew up. So I'm going to do everything or anything in my power to make sure that my kids don't experience what I experienced. Now, when you look at what happens with COVID-19, most families were doing well. The husband and the wife probably working, and they'd put their kids in good schools based on that statement, those emotions, and everything was going well. And then all of a sudden, here comes this unseen enemy that just rocks the whole world. Everything shut down. People lost jobs, livelihoods, and you can see that maybe the one partner that used to bring in more income is no longer employed. But you're still holding on to that thing. I could know my children, I'm not taking them out. The bills bills are piling up. You can't afford to pay the home. You're afraid to downgrade. You don't want to take the kids out of the private school into, and these are just temporary measures. But because I am dealing with money from that wound emotion, it becomes challenging. How do we help people that are maybe watching us now and they're in that situation?
Yeah. So money wounds, getting hurt around money. Again, going back to how you socialized around money, you didn't have enough to eat during the normal food on the table, or there was some dynamic around money that happened that caused you negative emotions, that caused you the trauma. You can even experience trauma around money, right? And so you make a vow to say never again. But the problem with a vow is that you are responding. It's not even responding. You're reacting to other people's behavior. So you're feeding not your desires. You're feeding the behaviors of others, because it's in a way trying to prove to these people that never again. Even though you're not deliberately saying, I want to prove this thing to you, right? But that's exactly what you're trying to do. At the back of your mind, I'm trying to show you that the fact that you said, as an example, you said that we never had anything. Let me show you that I have everything. Then you go and buy those things so your behaviors are not informed by financial principles.
Okay.
They are informed by vows, emotional vows.
Hey.
Right.
Emotional vows. I thought we only had marriage vows.
You got emotional vows that are determining and shaping your behavior. And they can be in opposition to financial principles.
Yes.
One of the financial principles we have, people say live within your means. I say live below your means.
Awesome.
You can't live within your means. Many people I know live within their means and they've nothing left for saving. It comes, they're able to pay all their bills and it's finished.
Nothing.
There's nothing and they are within their means. But because you want to plan for the future, you want to invest. We talk about emergency funds. We talk about all these things that we need to do, right? So if you don't live below your means, it means there's nothing left to save. There's nothing left to invest. And so what happens when a rainy day like COVID hits? You don't even have anything that could carry you through 6 months or a year, because you never had anything that you were saving in the first place. And that becomes the disaster. If you had been saving or had some emergency fund that can take you for 6 months or a year even, some people go even beyond that, right? So the losing of a job becomes a non-event, because then you are able to cater for your needs despite the changes while you're trying to adapt and get another new job. So the challenge is that you are now feeding your emotional vows and not operating from financial principles.
Wow, that is powerful. I think I like the nugget there, the seed that you're scattering there to say, don't live within, live beyond.
Below.
And isn't it that, what we normally do is we look forward to the time when we get an increase. Because then they tell you that your increase is 5% or 4%. You sit with a calculator. Oh, I'm getting 10,000 Rand more. And then immediately you upgrade your phone, you upgrade your wife, you upgrade your partner, you upgrade your car. And isn't it that we should actually be keeping expenses very low, even when our income is rising?
That is the way of creating financial freedom. If you want to create financial freedom, increase your earning ability, keep your expenses low. Until such a point when you've created the freedom that you can be and do what you like to do. But you're now having the reserves to make sure that you can do that.
There's a quote that you have in one of your books where you say money equals lifestyle equals self-worth. So by the way, to those of you who are watching, Mavis has authored so many books. I think 6, 7, 8, I'm counting. And they are awesome books. And there's one here that I have with me, and it's called Managing Emotions for Financial Freedom. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about financial freedom. So here's a book that you can get for yourself and read and learn about that. Back to this quote, money equals lifestyle equals self-worth. Please unpack that for us a little bit.
Okay, so we all want to create a certain lifestyle. We use money. Money is the instrument. But a lot of us have associated money, lifestyle, self-worthy. Meaning, if I live in a suburb or if I own a house of 6 million, that means I'm worthy. I'm better. Yeah, I'm a better human being. Right? So we always equate self-worth. We put self-worth at the end.
Okay.
When self-worth is what should begin.
Wow.
Self-worthy, lifestyle, money. But we have often said money, lifestyle, self-worth. So we've got it
Wrong. The
wrong.
other way around.
The
yeah.
other way around.
Yeah. Self-worth,
Lifestyle, money.
money. Yeah. And that then, I want to believe would make you to be content. If we started with self-worth and then we end with money, self-worth, lifestyle, money, then I'll be content with what I have.
Yeah.
What you have is yours. You've acquired it whichever way. I'm happy that I'm driving my small car. And chances are, I'm driving my small car. It's fully paid up. Yours is a big car, but you are drowning in debt. But if I just look at the self-worth perspective and I'm happy with where I am, it produces positive emotions. You become confident. You approach life. So you don't feel like you have this imposter thing. You don't feel like you need to be competing with other people.
And you don't need to prove anything to anybody. People aren't looking because people are busy with their lives.
Yeah.
So we always I've heard people say, what will people say?
Yay.
What will people say? But there was one interesting exercise that is one of the books that I read that said, go and sit next to someone and start thinking all the ugly things. Say, this one is a murderer. This one is poor. This one is... Think of all the ugly things and see if that affects that person.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It affects you.
It affects you. And yet we're almost always obsessed with what will people think.
Yeah.
People aren't thinking about us. Even if they do it,
They actually
it's
don't
a
care,
non-event.
you know?
If
Yeah.
you are, repairing that sense of self-worth becomes critical for many of us who grew up in poverty. Because we started to feel less because of the circumstances. We internalize circumstances. So circumstances do not determine our value. Right?
Yo, I like that. Circumstances do not determine our value. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe as we wrap up, what would your advice be to a young person or anyone for that matter who's starting off and who really wants to attain the financial freedom that they want and around emotions, around money and emotions? What would your advice be to them?
Okay. So there's a quote that says your attitude is your altitude. And basically attitude is a sum total of your dominant emotions and thoughts. So you want to make sure that your thoughts and your emotions are aligned to create positive attitudes towards money. And you may not have received that conditioning that allowed you to create positive. So a lot of people might have disintegrated thoughts. You've got good thoughts you want to create, but your emotions are negative. So there's no alignment. There's no congruence. So you start to experience internal conflict. So make sure you align your thoughts and your emotions around money to create positive attitudes around money, whatever that looks like for you. And that starts with self-definition, right? Know yourself. What do you want? Self-awareness becomes critical so that you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. You are defining your own pathway around money so that you can set goals that are aligned to your dreams and then have strategies that allow you to achieve that which you want to achieve for yourself without necessarily competing with the next person.
There you are. Alignment is important. Managing your emotions is critical. And so I think I want to leave the viewers with this nugget that financial freedom is possible. You just need to have a good relationship with money. You just need to keep your emotions in check, align them to your vision, to your goal, to your dreams, and then you are good to go. And so maybe as a parting shot, I always ask my guests to scatter a seed of wisdom for our viewers. What is that parting shot that you want them to always remember when they think about it, they think Mavis?
Okay, so I think for me the parting shot is I'm 100% responsible for my emotions, meaning that I can change them anytime. If I don't like what I'm experiencing, I can change it. So we are not victims of our emotions, biography, or biology, because we can change our emotions. Change your emotions, change your money story.
Change your emotions, change your money story. There you go. Thank you so much for watching this podcast. Mavis, thank you so much for sharing about emotions. And I'm hoping that those who are going to watch this podcast will do something and will learn from what you've shared with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.